Hey, it's Russ from the Infectious Groove Podcast and Vinyl Channel. So many records here, and I get people ask all the time, is there anything you don't own? Oh, there's a ton that I don't own, but today we're going to go through a ridiculous list. These are 5 albums that are considered classic must-own albums that I've never heard. Let's get to it. So let's get this out of the way right at the start. There's probably going to be a lot of coffee spitting, a lot of, oh, that can't be true, a lot of, oh, how ridiculous, but I figured it was just about time that I put out a video like this for all the rare records that I have, for all the completionist ways that I have for a lot of artists. These are 5 classic albums, and in some cases whole sections of discographies that I, as of the shooting of this video, have yet to hear, which I know is crazy, but let's get into it. So the first one, and other than the hits by this band, I've really never delved into their catalog all that much, let alone this legendary album that everybody says is amazing that you need to hear, and that's Deep Purple, Made in Japan. I do own a hits package by Deep Purple that's got probably the songs the Deep Purple fans don't love, just the songs that everyone knows, but I've always been told that you have to hear Made in Japan by Deep Purple, and I've just never got around to it. I have nothing against the band, I just, for whatever reason, have never got around to listening to that live album. Another one that is kind of surprising to most people that I've never heard, that I actually don't even own much by this artist, but what I do own, I love, is I've never actually heard the full Ziggy Stardust album by David Bowie. Again, I do have a couple of the Changes Bowie packages and the Let's Dance LP, and I'm certainly not against anything from David's earlier works. I love the Thin White Duke. I like a lot of what I have heard, but for whatever reason, other than the title cut that I've got on a hits package, I've just never got around to listening to the actual full Ziggy Stardust record, which is kind of crazy because I do like so much David Bowie stuff, and I'm big on concept albums, with The Wall being my favorite record of all time, so you would think that I would have gotten around to it, but as of the shooting of this video, nope, haven't got around to that one yet. This one is quite a bit different than what the rest of the list is. A lot of the rest of this list is classic rock, or what's considered classic rock now. But having been into rap since I was a little kid, when I first heard Raising Hell by Run DMC when I was probably 7 or 8 years old, carrying on through the early 90s, or late 80s, early 90s, gangster rap, and then the emergence of Eminem and P. Diddy, and a lot of the, even now, a lot of the newer rap artists that come out today. I generally keep up with what's going on, and again, this is one of those artists that I have heard other records by, but for some reason this one record I've just never listened to in its entirety, and that's The Blueprint by Jay-Z. I've heard the full Black album. I actually have a hits package of Jay-Z's on vinyl in addition to the Black album, but The Blueprint is considered kind of a cornerstone of that late 90s rap, as much as The Chronic was in the early 90s, or Straight Outta Compton was in the late 80s, and for whatever reason I've just never got around to listening to the entirety of The Blueprint. It's definitely a record that I want to go back and check out. It's just something that I have never got around to up till this point. I feel like the singles were so massive and on the radio that, and I was listening to so much other stuff at the time the record came out, I just never made that purchase and listened to the record in its entirety. The last 2 are probably going to be kind of a surprise for a lot of people. One is kind of an odd situation for me. So I grew up with Ozzy Sabbath, and from what I understand, from what I've talked to almost everybody else, if you grew up on Dio Sabbath, then you're pretty much loyal to Dio Sabbath, and if you grew up on Ozzy Sabbath, then you're pretty much loyal to Ozzy Sabbath. I grew up on Ozzy Sabbath, and I grew up so loyal to Ozzy Sabbath that for whatever reason, I would never give Dio Sabbath the time of day. Wouldn't get hostile about it or anything, but it was never anything I bought. Or if somebody else wanted to put it on, I'd say, "Oh, why don't we listen to Master of Reality again, or Volume 4? Have you heard the debut record?" I just, for whatever reason, I would never want to listen to Dio stuff. So recently they reissued Heaven and Hell and the Mob Rules, and I blind bought Heaven and Hell, thinking everyone I know has always told me this is like the most classic, one of the more classic metal records of all time. I've never heard even one note off of this record, and I will grab it, and if I don't like it, then at least I finally heard it. And if I do like it, then hooray, I've got another great metal record, and everything everybody ever told me was right. So I'm happy to report that I loved Heaven and Hell. I was stunned at how good it was. It totally lived up to the hype, and I have no excuse for having never listened to it before now, but that also brings up the fact that I have not heard, as of the shooting of this video, the Mob Rules or any Black Sabbath past that. So from the Mob Rules on, there's a ton of records I've been told are fantastic. A couple other lead singer changes, Dehumanizer, again, the Mob Rules. So basically from that era, the Mob Rules on, I have yet to hear any Black Sabbath, and I'm open to it now after hearing Heaven and Hell and loving that so much. But as of right now, Mob Rules on, haven't crossed these ears. The last one is one that I probably take the most crap for in life. I have a lot of friends who are mad and frustrated that I, first of all, don't own any records by this band. Second of all, am not very much into them. And third, at the very most, I know a couple of hits by, and that is The Who. And the album that everybody always says, oh, if you're not a Who fan, you hear this one, this is the one that's going to change your mind, is The Who Live at Leeds. As of the filming of this video, I have never heard even one note off of The Who Live at Leeds. I'm told by very many different sources that it's going to change my life, that I will become a Who fan after I hear that. Maybe I'm just not ready for that yet. But for me, growing up, the only Who that I ever heard was, My Generation got beat into the ground. You'd hear Pinball Wizard now and again. I liked the Magic Bus a great deal when I heard that when I was a kid. And I've always heard that The Who live is a completely different beast to deal with than The Who in the studio. So when I get to it, I'm probably going to take everybody's advice and listen to The Who Live at Leeds first. But as of now, I have yet to hear that, Quadrophenia, Tommy, any of those classic Who records. So having said that, that's my, I guess you could say, embarrassing albums, depending on how you look at it. Most people are surprised when they hear that I've never heard those records. It's kind of like a movie fan saying, I've never seen Star Wars or The Godfather or whatnot. So those are mine. And as always, I really want to hear from everybody in the comments. What are some of the classic records people just say, oh, I can't believe you've never heard that, or maybe something you've actively avoided? Make sure to leave a comment below, please. I would love to hear from everybody else. Maybe I'm not alone on some of these, like the Deep Purple and whatnot. There's certainly a ton of other records I haven't heard as well, but these are the ones that tend to stick out. So if you would, please leave a comment below. As always, it does help if you're subscribed to the channel. So if you're not subscribed already and you came across the channel today, or maybe you watch the videos when they come up without subscribing, hopefully today's the day that I earned your subscription. So please go ahead and hit that red button below. Remember, we will always have a new vinyl video for you every Thursday and every Saturday. Thanks for watching.